Hey everybody, welcome to the Anthony and Todd Show. We are a weekly podcast that critiques and memes music, and we're back here in 2020, the year of our Lord. And we got a new logo, we got new memes, and we've got new music, and we've got new critiques. And I'm your host, Trevor, aka Sunday Service Choir and Buffet. Alternatively, Sunday Service Choir invades your local Golden Corral. And I'm joined by my ever-attentive co-host, my best friend, my pal, my amigo, my Droog, Vincent.
And, a.k.a. Place Behind a Paywall Nationals, a.k.a. Jesus is Jason Bourne.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. That's what this album should have been called. This is episode 121 of the Anthony and Todd Show, an episode we would like to call What Would Chevy Chase Do?
Chevy Chase is hyphenated, so it's one word.
I'd be thinking, what would Chevy Chase do?
Today we got latest projects from Sunday Service Choir with Jesus is Born. We got your Old Droog with Jewelry. We have the Free Nationals with Free Nationals. And Griselda, the Griselda Records with What Would Sheen Gun Do? WWE CD.
WWE CD. You get to listen to all your favorite intro themes.
If you want to follow the Anthony and Todd Show, you can do so by going on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Anthony and Todd. You can find us youtube.com/the Anthony and Todd Show. And you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, and Spotify. Search the Anthony and Todd Show. And without any further ado, it's time to go to the Sunday Service Choir and Buffet.
I hope you're hungry.
I have these notes out of order.
Whoops.
Are you ready to go over the latest Sunday Service Choir album, Jesus is Born?
Yes. The Sunday Service Choir is an American gospel group led by rapper and producer Kanye West, legendary. He put them together over this past, year or two? Year and a half, maybe. And beginning in January 2019, this group has performed every Sunday in his Sunday service kind of things that he's been putting on social media. He even did one in our hometown, which was really cool, and we both missed it. That's okay, I guess, because maybe he'll come back another time.
And eat at the Cheesecake Factory.
I cannot wait.
The same Cheesecake Factory, Seymour was afraid to... We have a friend, Seymour, and he was afraid to order his food because he knew the cashier.
I had to do it for him, and the cashier didn't even talk to me. These Sunday service services, stunts, did some backflips off the altar.
He took that truck that he had in the Follow God music video and he rode it up a ramp.
He did a backflip off of a diving board into the baptismal font. These services were to hype up the new Kanye album Jesus is King, which came out October of this past year.
Yeah.
It took a long time for it to actually release, but that's okay because maybe he'll...
Just give me a second. Oh, there it is.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they released it.
Yeah, I got it. My dad bought it for me. Even though I don't really care for that album.
But now you still got all the CDs.
Yeah, I still have all the CDs. That's all that matters.
So this Sunday Service Choir album was released on Christmas Day. Complete surprise. Kanye said he was going to release this earlier in the year. He tweeted it and said Jesus was born on Christmas Day, and we're like, whatever. And then it turns out that it was true.
So
the Messiah was born on Christmas Day.
So we should just always stunt I'm sorry for my phone. We should just always not believe in Kanye's release dates, and then he'll actually release.
Yeah, as soon as everybody thought that it wasn't going to happen, it actually did happen, and I was really surprised. But also, I guess more on this later. This isn't really like a Kanye album.
Yeah,
so
it's executive.
Maybe it really
produced.
wasn't up to him.
It's executive produced by him, which in some way it kind of was up to him.
I guess.
I assume the release would have to go through him, and I'm assuming probably the mixing went
that's
through
probably
him.
the only thing that he was involved with.
He has production on this.
But that's it.
Yeah.
He's not in the songs.
Yeah.
The album was led by the choir director Jason White, music director Philip Cornish. It was executive produced by Kanye, with some feature production from Kanye, Jason White, Nikki Greer, and Philip Cornish. And this album is an hour and a half of just your favorite gospel.
If it's anything like the Jesus is King music video, or not the movie, the film we saw, Kanye was there. So he performed, but he didn't do anything.
He just snapped his fingers and whatnot.
No, he didn't snap. He just waved around. Wavy, baby.
just hanging out.
Yeah, having a grand old time. So what is this Jesus is Born album like? Well, it's 19 songs, an hour and 24 minutes, and it's we haven't discussed this beforehand. This is one week where we didn't discuss any of the music beforehand, so I'm really interested to see what your opinion is. I like it. I think it's really fucking long.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so I think the biggest knock against this is that it's really long. But then I think that another knock against it, like me personally, I've been listening to choirs, like obviously for a long time. I'm a music major, like that's what I've had to do.
Music
for
education
schooling.
major.
Yes, that's what I've had to do for schooling. So I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I think I know what like a good choir sounds like. And I don't know, I feel like a little disappointed by this because I don't feel like they really wowed me. They're really loud and they're full in their sound, but they never like quiet down. A good choir knows dynamics, and this choir is literally just blasting me to the back of the wall. Every single song, every second of every song.
Well, I think for me, the second half of this is just like they don't have their best material. All their best material is placed in the first half.
Yeah, they really front-loaded this record. I understand like why they would put all this stuff on here because, like, in all honesty, are they ever going to release another album?
No, probably
Are they
not.
ever going to get the chance to do that? Because if Kanye moves on to something else, I've got a feeling that he'll probably drop the Sunday service choir pretty quickly.
Yeah.
About as quickly as he picked them up.
And he's going to pick up the Sunday service buffet.
And then we'll get food sounds on the next one.
Just him eating fried chicken.
That's it. But like I said, like I can't blame them for putting everything on this album because it literally might be like their last chance to do so. First and last chance to do so. But I don't know. They sing in unison a lot of the time. Like there's really not a lot of like parts in here, part singing.
Yeah.
There's no parts independent. Like it's always synchronized rhythm, like rhythm wise. They never like go off and sing different parts and do different things. Unlike like every hour or every minute?
Every hour.
Every hour on
Every
Jesus
hour,
and King,
every minute.
every second. They all sing like different things and they're playing off of each other and that's impressive.
Yeah.
But on here, like you're right, they just don't put their best material on here. I feel like we're just getting these big loud like chords, these big power chords, Blink 182 style. That's that was a little disappointing to me.
Yeah, so what are some of the highlights? I think Revelations 19:1, which was sampled, or at least it was performed in Kanye's Selah. I think it's better here, but I wish like some of the coldness and the calculatedness of their vocals appeared on here, because this version is way more lively and it's way more praise. It feels like an actual praise and ode to God, which is nice. I like the environments. You say they're a little too loud. I kind of like that nature sometimes, where they're just like breaking out and like everyone's talking.
Like, the
really
highs are awesome, but like when you want to, I don't know, a good choir can get quiet, too, and they can sing really intensely and quietly, but like they just don't do that.
Yeah,
it almost discounts the loud, great moments if they do it the whole time.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Jason White who's talking a lot of this and leading the choir because he's the choir director, but it could be someone else. But I like his interlude. I like his additions, like and phase where he's revving them through Kanye's fade and teaching them the song. I think that's really cool. And his little interludes and his little gospel moments, I think, are really cool. But I think some things that they kind of mess up on. Ultralight Beam. That was a home run.
This is the most obvious.
It's just home run, and they just fucking whiffed it. It's so empty.
Yes.
It's like not like Kanye's tracks sometimes are like really cold and grand, and this just felt like, it just.
This is the most obvious like thing that they could have done.
Yeah.
Like this is what I expected from this. I expected them to do Ultralight Beam. That's the most seriously like the biggest connection between Kanye and this choir. And I feel like they just didn't do a super good job with it.
Yeah.
The best I can say is that it's like one of the shortest songs on here, so I don't have to worry about it as much as I would worry about something else. But like, I don't know, that was just really disappointing to me.
Yeah.
It could have been the same like 5-minute grand choral setting that it was on The Life of Pablo, but it wasn't.
Yeah, something I want to bring up. A lot of these are I'm assuming a big half of the album's covers, and a lot of these tracks have interpolations of other tracks. Like they interpolate a Genuine song and a Jeremiah song. Like I don't understand. Also, they interpolate "Elastic Heart" by Sia, the vocal pattern, but not the words. It's really weird. I don't understand why they just like stole it.
That's a secular song. I don't know. I expected a lot of these to be covers because, like,
yeah, that's what the film was.
That's what it's supposed to be, I think.
And it's not the like the covers are some of the better moments on here, like when they cover like Father Stretch, which I think is a great version. Like they did that song justice. I think they made it a little bit different. Same thing with their version of Fade, which is called Faith. Revelations 19:1 is a cover of a Stephen Hurd song. So like they do covers justice. I think Rain's also pretty good. And they do have original content on here. Like Count Your Blessings is a great moment. I think Excellence is a great moment. But like the first listen that I had with this on Christmas Day, I fell asleep about like 3/4 of the way in. Yeah. And I woke up at the end of the album. And on the second listening, I just thought it just drags. Like once you get to Ultralight Beam, 8 tracks in, it just drags. And like there's some occasionally like interesting moments. Like I think Paradise is pretty interesting. I think Total Praise is okay, but like it just drags. And this is the same thing the film had, where like their performances were like it's cool, but it takes up so much time that it's just not compelling.
Yeah.
Like I think if this thing was like way shorter, it would be way more interesting. Like I don't know why they wanted to like just drag it out. And you said it was because like they're never gonna get a chance to probably do this ever again. I just feel like if you're gonna do something, at least like just make it your best material. I don't want to hear your just like random oddities. Yeah. Like because like the second half of this is just it repeats the first half, but it's not as compelling. This album has a lot of like live recorded drums to it. It feels big. The choirs are huge. It feels like they're almost to a point where the choir is peaking. It feels like almost I'm being transported to another realm with how loud their voices is and how well they project. But as Trevor said, it can get pretty irritating at times. I don't think they do anything too terribly wrong on here, but I think the length is the worst thing, and it's just that's what ruins it.
No, like I don't think that the choir sounds bad or is grating or anything. I just they severely discount their highs by having nowhere else to go, because they're at a 10 the entire time.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah.
It makes the album fall flat. It seems flat because even if it is at a 10, it's a 10 across the board. It's boring.
Yeah. There are some amazing moments on here. Don't get me wrong. Clout Your Blessings, excellent. Revelations 19:1. Father Stretch, Follow Me Faith. I think there's some brilliant material, some brilliant production on here, and how it just all blends together. Both natural and synthetic elements, like the synth and bass on Fade is Faith is excellent. How they just incorporate that riff is great. I think the drums being so huge, the choir being so huge is excellent, but like you gotta have your quiet moments, and this thing doesn't really have a lot of them.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that ruins it. It's still good. I still would recommend it in a sense, but I think it's disappointing in other ways. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I enjoyed it. I think it's fun, but I also think it could be better. Keep in mind those scores if you tell me is right now I'm feeling a 6+.
I'll give it like a 6-.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna leave it at that. And now is it still Hanukkah?
No, I had to look that up. It's not.
Well, too bad, because right now we're going over to the latest Your Old Droog album, Jewelry.
Yeah.
Put emphasis on the Jew.
I found it out. Your Old Droog is a Brooklyn Ukrainian-American MC. He had a great 2019. This technically falls in 2019.
Yeah.
Where he really perfected his style as like kind of I don't know, like a dustier voice,
a more vintage voice.
Yeah,
and like not vintage as like
vintage as in like Nas.
No, not vintage as like even old hip hop, but just like old feeling material. Like the instrumentals were old.
Like babushka.
Yeah, it just felt like
Yes.
very retro style.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. And he's just really building on his charisma since 2017's PAX that he released. But last year, in 2019, he released It Wasn't Even Close earlier in the year, which was hilarious. I thought it was really funny. Like a lot of his like one-liners. He had some really great features on there. He really knew how to utilize his production and his voice to make it just seem really, like you said, old, and like vintage sounding. It was one of our favorites of the year. But then not only that, he dropped a transportation like concept album called Transportation like a little later in the year, probably around the halfway point of the year. And it was, I don't think it really stood up to It Wasn't Even Close, but it was still like a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It was a great honorable mention for us. I think that Droog really worked off of the concept of that, and I think really painted a picture of like his native,
surroundings,
Brooklyn that he like grew up in, and
also the rocket ship.
yes, everybody
yacht.
knows that there's a rocket ship in the middle of New York City. But on December 23rd, Droog finished his 2019 with the surprise release of Jewelry, which talks about his Jewish heritage and celebrating being Jewish, and I guess kind of lamenting on like some of the problems that Jewish people have had in America. It's a Hanukkah celebration,
As he coined on his Bandcamp.
He even did like a secret Hanukkah show with Makami.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he like put on the secret show that was just for Hanukkah. It was him and Makami didn't take off his cowboy hat or like bandana the entire time.
He never takes off his bandana. He's full gimmick all the time.
It's I can't believe it. Every picture I see of him, like, he'll meet people on the streets. I don't think he's like a dick or anything.
Yeah.
Like, he just doesn't take it off.
Dude doesn't take off his mask.
I think it's funny.
Like you gotta go gimmick all the time.
This record was executive produced by Makami with production by The God Fahim, Quelle Chris, Preservation Eden, and Cohen Beats. I think that Quelle in particular kills it on here.
Yeah, because it's like tracks that they've collaborated on before, like Scuba Dirt, like that style of just like filth and murkiness in the production. How like the bass is really heavy, the drums are pretty distant, but they're still like bumping. I think that really resonates with a lot of tracks, and it also resonates with the style Euro Droog's going for. So as this album, I think it's the most ambitious Droog has had to date. I think I don't like it as much as it wasn't even close, because it wasn't even close. It was very loose, and it's just like charisma could just ooze out of him. This it's way more refined. It's way more tight. And not to say it's bad, because I think this is really good, but I think it's just a different type of beast. I think he really works with his strengths still. Like I think he's still hilarious. I think he's still really good at telling stories and being interested and being sentimental at times, which is nice. Like on tracks Stoop Kid, where he's going over his past and kind of showing kind of how his upbringing and how kind of shitty it was in a sense, or just kind of the murkiness of America as a concept anyway.
I wouldn't even say his like upbringing was shitty. I just feel like his environment, he was like kind of scared of New York when he was younger. And now I feel like he's kind of like grown into it. He's become what he was afraid of.
Yeah. You get great tracks like Tang with, I think he's a Jewish reggae artist, Ma Ishawa. How would you pronounce it? I can't read words. I can't read words, so Matishu.
I guess.
Dude, I have no idea. Which he brings a very sense of, panic in a sense. Like it's very weird because it works really well. I don't think like a reggae artist would work well over like Droog's like kind of shocking style or his like shocking filth.
Yeah, it adds a really cool chorus. Like the hook that he does is, I think, really catchy.
Yeah,
it just ties the whole track together. I guess my personal like favorite moments is probably like the front half of this.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed like the intro with Makami is I think like Hebrew chants.
That's what I thought. It was either Hebrew, but I know Makami is Haitian. Yeah. So it could be that. I have no idea.
I would definitely say it was Hebrew.
It would make more sense.
And then going into Tang with production by Quelle Chris. This was we got a little sample of this before the record was put out, and I think that hook, that like reggae hook, just really ties everything together with some really great verses from Droog on here. Moving into BDE, which is kind of a sequel to RST.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close, with the same features, Makami and Doom on here again. I find this to be one of the most compelling tracks. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Doom has some really great.
What I really like about
wordplay
this
on here.
track is they have a little audio snippet of this dude saying music in the 60s, 70s isn't good as
That's
people remember.
that's
But
one
like
of my favorites.
they set it up to where Doom's verse is kind of isolated in a sense. And I really like that because he needs, like, not that he needs it, but like
He's too big.
No, but he's a legend at this point, and it's nice for him to be kind of like separated from Droog and Mach.
Yeah.
Not that they like need to, because RST, they were like on the same level, but like it's nice to have Doom have his own like little segment, because I feel like with his career he kind of deserves it.
I like the snippets as well.
Yeah.
Talking about like, oh, everybody loves the 60s. But then like at the end, I'm not sure if it was supposed to be like incredibly poignant, but I did find it to be like more of a poignant moment on here where they talked about like these cigar chomping guys are saying like, will it sell? I don't know. Put this experimental music out. At the very end, he's like, those cigar guys were less of a danger to music than these like young hip producers ever will be.
Yeah.
I thought that was like really interesting that he feels that way, but also I think that it's true, like once you actually think about it.
Yeah. Mrs. Cloutfire has this killer line. I just love this line. It made me laugh so much. Where Droog says, "My new aesthetic. If you don't like Droog, you're anti-Semitic."
It's too funny.
I just.
There's also a really great sample of the opening rip of Rhapsody in Blue, that clarinet rip all the way up.
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome and just really like a very small thing, but that just entered the public domain like very recently. So you're allowed to do that now. As soon as it was, he jumped on it. I feel like that also really paints New York in like a certain sense. I feel like after you've seen Fantasia 2000, you can never think of anything different than like a city skyline being drawn.
Yeah, like for a lot of this, it gives me a lot of impressions of New York, but also like a gritty gangster film or like a Scorsese film.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that type of just rough urban area, which I think is
Droog
really.
is the Irishman.
I think Droog and Makami collaborate pretty well on here. I think they've always collaborated pretty well,
They're
but I think
best friends.
I think it works on here really well. They just fit off each other. They're the same cut of cloth, but they fill at different points. If that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
Makami, I've been trying to like figure out how to define his voice, and it's just like, cause like he's kind of high pitched, but he really isn't.
I find him like, I don't know, I think more like volume. He's
Yeah.
very soft spoken, but also I like that because
Yeah.
like you
It's
said, like
soft-spoken.
Droog is really like, you listen to like a solo mock record like Wapkan Joj, and it was like literally all Makami just being like very soft, a
Yeah.
lot of like repetition. But then you listen to Droog and he's just like really abrasive and aggressive towards everybody. Yet they're like best friends and they work really well together.
Yeah, so soft but like still scratchy.
Yeah.
That's what I think is probably the best way to define it. But I think they like fill the same parts. Like the contrast works really
They
well.
play off
between
of each other really well.
Diamonds has this sample from Kanye West, the Diamonds in Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
Rihanna with Diamonds. I think there's a Q-Tip track.
Yeah,
or
the whole
Tribe.
like hook of this is just a bunch of, it's like a patchwork of different samples all
Yeah.
thrown together.
Which is really interesting how they're just flown together really well. And the track's talking about how this guy sells his soul to 3 Jewish men. And he goes to a comedy club and says some like terrible shit.
So, yeah, it says something like
And then
completely off the wall.
then the mob comes and takes his family.
And then it was all just a
dream.
dream at the end. I don't know.
But I think that's a good soul. It's an interesting story about telling your story. Droog's a little bit more narrative on this at times, which I think is really nice. Like on Generations, where he's telling the story of a family with hopes and aspirations of coming to America and being free, and then their grandson is finally in America,
Yeah.
and then he gets killed. So like, is the concept of America actually as good as the dream or the vision of
Right.
it actually is, which is pretty nice. And then I already talked about Stoop Kid, just kind of Droog's nostalgia. Droog on previous tracks on PAX was pretty like brings essentially like nostalgia.
This was a very nostalgic track because I feel like the hook talks about like when you were a kid, they say be all you want to be the change you want to see, be what you want to be or whatever. Like I think every kid in America got told that same thing. Like whether you were Jewish or black or white or whatever school you went to, like you got the same message. And I thought it was really interesting that like Droog and Fahim are both bringing that up when Trevor, heard that in Ohio the same way that Droog heard 15 years ago, like 15 years before I did in New York City. Like, I don't know. I thought that was like a really, really interesting, like generational thing, yet we all like understood it. Also, he brought up like Hey Arnold, watching Hey Arnold, which was like stuff that we did as well. Yeah. I felt like we're all on the same level there. It was a very nostalgic time.
Babushka 2, which is the sequel to Babushka. Also, I forgot to mention
1.
Babushka, yeah. Mrs. Cloutfire, I forgot to mention, it's very similar in production to Funeral Dirge. So a lot of these tracks take from It Wasn't Even Close, which I think is really cool. That it kind of like ties
That was
in.
another Quelle one.
Yeah.
Cloutfire.
But Babushka 2, he's talking about culture vultures in a sense. And it kind of like, this is not like an original concept of like just shitty white people, but like it gets me to appreciate my own form of pretentiousness because at least I'm myself in a sense, not to like pat my own back, but like at least I'm stupid in my own way.
Yeah.
Like I just make terrible jokes that are not funny, and
I think Babushka 1 is better.
Babushka's 1's better because it proves Droog said
grandma.
Droog said that this year. I'm really excited for this year because Droog said he's opening Primus. Now he's to fill up the promise. But Babushka 2, he's talking about culture vultures, and that's the great line, the great opening line. All I hear is culture this, culture that. The culturalists talk culture crap from a cozy cul-de-sac. Why my last shit not take off yet? Culture ain't nothing but the child of Cardi B and Offset. That's just amazing. A great cold open to that track. Last thing I want to talk about is Wu-Tang Forever the Reprise, which has the same feature on it. And it's just kind of underwhelming. And it kind of just leaves this album on just a cold note.
Yeah.
It's not terrible by any means, but it's just like, I think
that the hook of the Wu-Tang and Wu-Tang Forever, like, I feel like that's kind of the voice of the album. Like, that's what resonates in my head when I think about, like, this record. Because, like, it is like very reggae, but also like it uses like a lot of the same like modes and scales as a lot of like Jewish music, or like klezmer and Hebrew chants and that kind of thing. So like I feel like that ties things back to the beginning pretty well. But I almost wish it would have been an outro with more like Hebrew chants. I think that would have been a good outro.
I just think the
chemistry, even the Greatest to Ever Do It would have been a fine outro too.
Just like the chemistry seems a little bit different from the intro. I just think it just doesn't work out well. I think the return to the concept isn't as solid as the initial concept itself.
Yeah.
So. But overall, I think this is good. I think it's Droog's most ambitious project to date. I think he has a lot of fun with the concepts and the narratives on this album, and he pays homage to his heritage by still being himself, which is nice. Like he doesn't just like say that he is this, but he more or less shows that he is this by still bringing out the original personality traits he has to begin with, which is nice. He doesn't lose himself in his heritage, which is really interesting. But keep in mind, all scores are futile meaningless. Right now, I'm feeling a 8+ on this. I really liked it, and I hope to hear more from Droog soon. This is a good way to close off his decade and to start a new one.
Yes, I'm really excited for what he's going to do. He just released a new single with the late Prodigy called Crab Cakes, and it was really good. So I'm hoping that we're going to get something else this year. I got a feeling we will here at some point. Perhaps a beach-themed album. I'm also going to give this an 8+. I'm a big Droog fan. It's really grown on me.
I'm just trying to think about what a beach-themed album would be.
It's got Jimmy Buffett on it. That's about it for that one.
Mark Hobby is just wearing a swimsuit, but
he's got a bandana on his waist, too.
Or no, the bandana is the same. It's like the same pattern as a swimsuit. That visual of Maccabi lighting the menorah in the the BDE music video is fantastic.
Is Makami Jewish?
I don't know.
I don't think he is. But that makes it even funnier.
I think it makes it better. Okay, are we free nationals?
No.
Hot dogs. That's
No.
Hebrew. We go from
Hebrew nationals
to free
brew nationals.
God damn it. Time to go over the latest Free Nationals album, Free Nationals.
Free hot dogs. Free Nationals are an LA-based band known for being a collaborator and the backing band to Anderson .Paak. That's probably their biggest claim to fame at this point. The band consists of producer and guitarist Jose Rios, the keyboardist Ron Tanava Iband, the bassist Kelsey Gonzalez, and DJ drummer and producer Callum Connor, who has a couple of features on here. And each member also contributes backing vocals for the band, so not only one person sings, everybody sings.
Like the Sunday service choir and buffet.
They all sing. This record is 41 minutes at 13 songs, and it's got features from all across the board on here, some that you know and some that you don't.
Yeah, but mostly some that you know.
Yeah, mostly a lot of people that I was familiar with or have at least heard of.
What other names are we talking about? Well, we got big names. We got Anderson .Paak, of course, JID, Daniel Caesar, Unknown Mortal Orchestra, T.I.
Hell yeah. Mac Miller, Caliuchis, Benny Sings is on here, Conway the Machine, and Westside, but no Benny. Screw you, Benny.
Benny was too busy being a butcher.
I guess. He had some meat to cut. The classic Griselda boys, Conway, Westside, and Joyce Wright. Everybody knows.
I don't know why that made me die, but yeah, I think they actually have decent curation features because a majority of these people I know, and I think they make them out to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most confusing records I think I had to review in a while because I think the music on here is good and the curation of artists are good. And I think they make the artists better overall, majority of these. But I just think overall as a project, it's like if the range of curation and albums ranges from GJ Khaled and Ed Sheeran's last projects to Everything Is recorded, this is like a 7 out of that scale.
So it's more towards Everything Is
recorded than like DJ Khaled because like the features are good, but it doesn't feel like a whole it doesn't feel like a complete album, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel cohesive.
I would agree with that. I feel like they had a hard time pulling this whole thing together because like the artists that they got on here are great.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times they're just like not in agreement of like style, I guess. And the Free Nationals try to pull it together by having all these like skits where apparently the entirety of the Free Nationals keep trying to call me and I'm not picking up for some reason and I have to keep leaving messages. Which like I guess I don't understand because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's kind of a cheap transition. It reminds me a lot of like the radio show skit kind of thing that a lot of artists have been doing. But it doesn't pull this together in a way that I think is like well worth it.
Now, what does Everything Was Recorded have that this doesn't? Well, it has recurring cast to a certain extent. Yeah. Like, there are one-offs, but...
like Sampha and
Kamasi
appear multiple times.
Yeah. You have segments or skits that pull things together. You have an overall building atmosphere. You have also different styles of production. Different artists doing different things.
It all feels cohesive.
Yeah. This is just the same kind of style of soul, and it ranges from R&B to hip-hop, and sometimes funk, sometimes disco, but it's at the core, it's still soul.
Yeah. I guess it's basically what I got out of this is like the Free Nationals had a bunch of like vamps almost that they just could do. Like, obviously they do these for Anderson .Paak, but like Anderson .Paak's music is mostly hip hop and R&B, so they're going to keep vamping the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
It doesn't really change a whole lot. And I feel like that's kind of what they did on here. They basically play like beats live.
Yeah.
And that's fine and dandy. Like I love seeing that.
And the production on here is fine.
Yeah,
like,
it's fine, but like it's less about the Free Nationals and what they can do.
More about
more about like the features and what they can do. Because like you look at something like Beauty and Essex, the Free Nationals still played in the background, but Daniel Caesar literally makes this into like a sex song, and then later on they play for like, I don't know, the only time that they ever have their own time is on Lester Diamond, and that's just pure funk.
Yeah.
And that's great that they could do that. Like it progresses. There's solos and things like a normal like funk song would have.
And that's the most different track on here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But then the rest of the time they're just basically playing their beats live.
Yeah.
So I think that really boils down to like how good almost songwriting and performance is.
Yeah.
And some of these, not all these tracks are created equal.
Yeah. It reminds me of something you said during our top 10 worst projects. I think what you said is the grade is not the. People say the graveyard's the great equalizer, but in reality it's DJ Khaled, because you're talking about how Gunna and Beyonce and Jay-Z felt the same. This kind of has the same approach. It's not as terrible because like Anderson .Paak still shines.
Oh sure,
but
there's definitely
aesthetic,
shining artists.
But in the general aesthetic, he just kind of pops up and leaves.
Yeah,
like it just his appearance is good, but it doesn't have any weight. It's strange.
Yes,
like Sid's amazing on this, but like just vanishes.
Well, when Anderson .Paak came up, I was like, well, that makes sense, you know. Yeah. I didn't really read the feature list all that hard. Anderson .Paak came up, I was like, oh, look, there he is. See, that makes a total sense. That's his backing band. And then as quickly as he appeared, he was just gone again. And he never came back up. I thought that was really weird.
So what are some good moments on here? I think the Beauty and Essex featuring Daniel Caesar and Unknown Mortal Orchestra is pretty good. Unknown Mortal Orchestra usually provides a warm atmosphere, and Daniel Caesar kind of does that way better than them on this, and I feel like they're a little bit flat, but they're not around.
It's still a very warm.
It's still a good track. I would enjoy it. On-Site JID is fantastic. I think Sabu with Sid, those fucking horns is amazing. They're amazing. Same thing with Benny Sings. They like. I was thinking about this. Like, I wish Benny Sings had the same popularity and same budget as Rex Orange County, because I think he's because like his last album was a little bit more on the lower fi side. And I wish he just had like a more grander scope, because when he has like bigger production, it's brilliant. Mm-hmm. And
he would hire a disco band for himself.
Yeah, Gidget with Anderson .Paak and T Nava has these great charismatic performance from Anderson .Paak and really weird vocoded vocals from T Nava, which are okay in this segment because they're short, but he pops up later on.
This
also
is the keyboardist.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay, I didn't realize it because there's a period in it.
I didn't did that. Yeah, he did that for himself, I guess. He sounds like Daft Punk.
Well, Daft Punk used vocoder vocals. I didn't get Daft Punk. I just got vocoder.
I got but Daft Punk, specifically the track with Panda Bear from Random Access.
Doing it right?
Yes.
Also, he pops up on Also, and it's just it seems super gimmicky.
Yeah. I was like, what is he doing?
It's just so long too. Yeah. And then Callum Connor, both tracks that he's on, Renee, and Also, it's sad that like both members of Free Nationals get a vocal performance, and those are the true tracks I want to get rid of.
Yes.
Like, they just don't pull their weight. They're not as interesting.
No.
Like, they don't have any crossover appeal outside this. They're just pretty bland. Because, like, the artists they do get.
I guess Callum Connor kind of comes across as like a Ringo Starr situation where he's like drumming and also singing. Like, that's, I've got to give him credit. That's really hard to do.
Yeah, Anderson .Paak does it.
Yeah, but he's not that good.
Yeah, it's not that interesting. The Ribbenton with Conway, Westside Gunn, and Joyce Wright is brilliant. Griselda, we'll talk about what Machine Gun do in a little bit, but maybe this, like, next time. Like, if you're gonna do natural production, like, make it a little bit different. But I really like that track. I think it's great. Westside Gunn's charisma comes full force. Like, he's just completely oddball.
They didn't give him enough ad-lib time, personally.
He needed like 6 minutes.
He didn't have any time to warm up, so it's kind of weird to hear him just go into a verse immediately and didn't like hype himself up for 15 seconds before he actually come on.
Yeah, Mac Miller and Caliush's On Time are brilliant. It's one of those beautiful, like, this in the 88 keys, or is it 99? 80K keys track. Both great posthumous sends-offs to him. And this one, it's just like, it's kind of sad in post because the track's about all making the best of your time and kind of using it wisely. And he's gone now. Cut Me a Break with T.I. I hate that I like this.
This is one of my favorite tracks on here, and I was so mad because what happened between T.I. versus the People and here.
No, I like the track's called "Cut Me a Break" because he's talking about he needs to be cut a break after people getting mad at him for checking his daughter's hymen. He checks it. He doesn't hire anyone else to check it. He checks it. He goes up to him and goes.
T.I. has been on some
shaky crowd.
He's been on something for the past like year or so, but he came out with "Cut Me a Break" and I was blown away.
Why is this track so grand? This is the grandest. It's like kind of like a score to like an exploitation film, which is interesting, but like modern contemporary version of that.
Yes, it was like it's a very funky, almost like Shaft like like the show.
My favorite part
like
of Shaft is where he checks his daughter's hymen.
The production of this is
I just want someone to take that out of context.
I'll cut it out.
Like just like there's like a bunch of Twitter accounts for like YouTubers I watch and they like take like clips out of context. I want someone to like stan us that just take our clips out of context. There's some gold. There's some gold in them hills.
That's the one.
There's some gold in them hymens. What are you talking about?
T.I. deserves a break after this. I'm gonna cut him a break.
I'm not.
This is seriously like one of my favorite songs.
T.I.'s decent when he gets a chance to go.
I
but
mean, like I could barely understand him, but like I don't care. He's so like slurred and smooth, and doesn't matter. I just like the way that he delivers this verse. I have no idea what he says, but I think it's awesome. The production really works for him like pretty well on here
because it's beautifully bold. That's it.
Thank you, T.I., for gracing my ears with something I never thought I needed.
Thank you, T.I., for gracing my hymen. I don't have anything else to say. I think I peaked.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, the curation's not as good as it could be. I enjoyed this. There's good moments. There's some weak outliners. This thing could have been like 4 tracks less and would have been better.
Okay. Yeah.
I just wish there was something that made it cohesive as a whole, and it just kind of felt like just a bunch of odds and ends with some really good performances, some really good ends to all the odds, which is nice.
Wow.
Keep in mind, the scores if you're telling me this right now, I'm feeling a 6-7.
I'll give this like a 7.
Yeah. And now I have to ask you the important question. What would Sheen Gun do? What was the what, the where, the why, and the how would Sheen Gun do?
The who is Sheen Gun. The what is a good friend. A why is why did he leave so soon? Yeah. Why is Sheen Gun dead? The where is I'm not really sure. And the
how?
The how is he probably got shot.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah. Time to go over the latest Griselda record. What would Sheen Gun do?
Okay, we've talked about the Griselda Records crew for a long time on here. Probably every month we talk about this and go over it again. We're going to do it again. Griselda Records is made up of the Buffalo MCs, Westside Gun, Benny the Butcher, and Conway the Machine. The trio has been absolutely prolific in the amount of releases that they've been putting out in the past, like,
2
decade.
years. Yeah.
I mean, they keep... Like, I went on to Wikipedia to just kind of, like... That's a good place to find discography.
It's the world's best resource, as I said during his film. It's also an online encyclopedia.
It's a good place to find like discographies because a lot of people like keep updated on that, and their release schedule is like they don't have pages for the majority of things that they put out.
Yeah,
I mean there's so much stuff that like each member has put out, but then as a group, this is like the only thing that they've put out together. And this album is dedicated and named after the late rapper Marcello Machine Gun Black Lowry, aka Sheen Gun, who's Benny's half brother, and then therefore Westside and Conway's first cousin. Are all related.
Yeah.
This is their major label debut under Shady Records, Interscope, and Universal.
So they got the Eminem seal of approval, which, as we learned from Boogie's last album, doesn't mean much.
It really doesn't.
Because he can give it out to anyone without talent, apparently. Yes. And but here's the thing: Griselda have talent. and they showcased this plenty of times before.
They really do. They've collaborated multiple times. Like, this is their first group release, but they are always doing guest verses and things. I think pretty much every solo record has had at least one, if not both, of the other.
Yeah.
On at least one song, but most of the time it's more than that. They all work together anyway, so like whatever. And all the production here is done by Darren Yeager and Beat Butcher, and it has no samples.
There you got
which it blew me away.
Because it just sounds like their past material, and this is where I get into the problem. The production's amazing, but it's the same. We've heard this.
Yes.
I like West Side Gun, but we've heard this. Like, West Side Gun's one of my favorite rappers currently. He's one of the just one of the most charismatic, bold, and just oddball characters in hip hop. But like here, he doesn't really shine as much. Who shines the most? Honestly, Conway. And Conway's been kind of the weakest link the entire time. Not that I think we need to like compare the members
Because he had a
individually.
stroke.
No, he didn't have a stroke. He got shot, didn't he? Yeah.
He just can't move half his mouth
But-
like he did have a stroke.
But Benny, from his last project, Plugs I Met, to this, he still has a level of aggression and importance, which is still nice. Conway seems way more, I don't know, consistent throughout a lot of this.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a weak link in this, which is really nice. He seems like he's able to stand up, but West Side Gun kind of feels like the weak link at times. Because I feel like we don't get a lot of moments where he's just like, he can just do weird shit.
Yeah, I think that's...
We don't get Undertaker versus Goldberg moments.
I've been listening to that song like almost nonstop.
The loop of that is amazing.
I love it. That beat change, just West Side being a complete fool. the interlude of Goldberg and Undertaker's like announcements. I don't know. I just find that track to be endearing. And then Conway at the end, I think, is really pulling his weight here.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like when he started to really start to pull his own weight.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But on here, I almost feel like they're taking themselves too seriously. Like, Westside doesn't take himself super seriously.
Yeah.
And that's obvious in like any feature that he does. Like,
I'm the king of New York.
I don't even
Boop,
gotta
boop,
rap.
boop, boop for
And then he
6
just
minutes.
doesn't rap. Any feature, any project he puts out, there's tons of wrestling references. There's references to all sorts of like fashion, like high fashion. I just find him to be really fun. But then somebody like Conway is just like way too into it, or Benny is way too into like that gangster lifestyle, and I don't think that Westside really has it in him.
Yeah. See, the thing that adores me at Westside, and I made this comparison before, he's like a new generation Shawn Michaels of the rap game, where he's cocky, he's conceiving, but he's also really entertaining, and he's caught in his own image, which is nice, which is really fun. So he doesn't look intimidating, but once you like get him in the ring, or once you get Westside in the mic, he's intimidating.
Right, like I don't want the Griselda guys to see this and say like, oh, he thinks that Westside's soft. I by no means think Westside is soft. These three are like some of the hardest MCs in the game right now.
Yeah.
Like absolutely crazy. Yeah. But I think that Westside like doesn't really want to rap about that kind of thing. He wants to rap about like wrestling and things that he like is immediately interested in. And then you've got features where Westside's like talking about SummerSlam 98 or something, and then in the next verse, Conway's like, yeah, we left a couple fingers in your mailbox. Like, we're gonna chop you up and send you down the drain, and then we'll burn your body with acid. And then that guy in the back goes,
No, there's one line on here, I can't remember if it was Conway or Benny, but it was like, we'll leave you in the room and it'll smell for weeks. I just imagine the three Griselda boys just sitting in the room with a dead body that's been there for 3 weeks.
yeah, like if you leave it in the room for a week, it'll cause a stench or something. Like they're like basically like Conway and Benny remind me of like Breaking Bad, and then Westside is like Better Call Saul, like just screwing around somewhere else.
Same universe, but different ends.
Incredibly so. I don't know.
So like
really
the
agree with
chemistry,
that.
it works, but it doesn't. Like they've come off as pretty cohesive before. Like I think of tracks on Supreme Blind Tell, they're like, they fit. You mentioned Undertaker versus Goldberg, but like here it's weird.
I wouldn't say that they don't fit. They really
works,
work.
but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because it's like And part of the reason it does is we've seen better. We've seen like better projects where they collaborated better. Supreme Lion-Tel, Fly God is an Awesome God. Hitler was Hermes 7. The Plugs I Met. We've seen projects where like, they've had features and they mesh together better. And like on this, it doesn't feel like it meshes.
No, I feel like they mesh well here because Westside is sacrificing some of his own interest in order to fit in better with his family.
By the way, who do you think is the most listened to artist from Griselda on
Benny.
Spotify? Yeah, that's probably why. I think Westside.
I saw the Plugs I Met top so many different best of the year lists, but nobody ever mentions Westside. Nobody ever mentions Conway. Like it's literally just
who do you think
Benny.
is better, Westside or Conway? In
Westside.
Spotify, yeah, in Spotify numbers,
Westside.
Conway.
Seriously?
Yeah, by like double.
Westside is just seriously. I think he's seriously slept on.
It like made me think it made me realize Westside's kind of an acquired taste.
Westside's my favorite.
Westside is my favorite too. But like, I think we haven't really talked about specifics of the album, or just how this album just kind of feels weird.
It
Because
does feel
like,
weird.
it feels like at times a softcore reboot for like modern audiences, for like just mainstream.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like they actually released singles, which is not something that like they've done before. They had the Eminem feature, and like they had more like bigger name features on here. So like I really liked the opening track Marcello with Raekwon just kind of giving a lecture about loving people and how you should never love somebody more than they love you.
It's pretty similar to his thing on Fly God.
Yeah.
A little too close.
Kind of similar, but also I like the continuity because in their universe, in the Griselda universe, Raekwon's like God. He can talk to you about that kind of thing.
In the Griselda universe, Raycon's God, and then Keisha Plum's always this like ambient narrator.
Yes, I like that. Like I like that kind of continuity that they've got. I think Chef Dreads and Moselle are two awesome moments on here. Dr. Birds, one of their other singles,
probably
phenomenal.
the punchiest track today as a group.
Yes,
and the best
great.
track on here.
Maystore with Keisha Plum. I like Bang with Eminem. I didn't think I would have liked, but this released like earlier in 2019, and I actually enjoyed it.
Here's the weird thing: Eminem has the best. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Eminem has the best verse on the track.
I mean, he is the most seasoned.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he saved his best material for what I think is probably the most talented signees or most talented guys that he's got on the Shady Record
The only
label.
really thing I can knock his verse is he's like, don't compare me to, he mentions like, don't compare me to Iggy, don't compare me to Nicki. And over recent years, like he's had the same stunted personality as both of them and the same like ignorance.
Yes, I will compare him to them, but yeah. City on the Map, I think is fun. I like the chorus, but 50 Cent sounds like he's 5 years old on this track.
No, 50 Cent sounds like he's the fourth Griselda member. He sounds so close.
But
like it doesn't.
I just think his verse is awful.
Like I'm not saying it's good. He just sounds like
his voice sounds like it. I meant his writing sounds like he's 5 years old. This is a horrible verse.
Can you just give me examples? That's really interesting.
I gotta look it up.
Okay, I'll move forward. I think Cruiserweight. I think the moments where Westside kind of shows his charisma the most is Kennedy with Tiona Denise, where he's just like completely ad-libbing and trying to harmonize with her, and it's just completely outside and weird. And then Cruiserweight Coke is the moments where they like let Westside kind of be Westside in a sense, and it doesn't seem. It seems almost untamed in a sense.
I hate this record. The opening line, 50 Cent comes on here and goes, "I'm an A student. I mean, I do my homework. No ski mask. Put in my own work. I do my homework. I do put in my own work." This is literally like one of the worst.
I guess I wasn't listening.
Valedictorian, bulletproof DeLorean. My window's thick like 24-hour stores.
I do remember that
Doesn't
one.
even rhyme.
I do remember that one.
Doesn't make any sense. Like 50 Cent's verse on here is absolutely awful.
Yeah.
But it's funny and then it's bad. But like these are some of the worst lines I've heard this year so far. This might make end of the year like worst verse.
The Old Groove has an interesting beat switch with. I'm assuming is his. Do you think his name's Novel or Novel?
That's a novel.
Okay, because like Novel sounds more profound.
The Nobel Peace Prize.
But
I think it's just novel.
He has a beat switch that goes to more contemporary R&B, which is like we haven't really seen Griselda in that form. Even though like they're not over that instrumental, it's nice to see some type of breakup. But like being honest, like Griselda doesn't seem like really challenged. Like the production seems challenged. Like I bet for Derringer and Beat Butcher, this was hard to make.
It was probably hard without any like sampling or anything. But I missed the sampling. Yeah. I thought that the sampling was some of the best parts of any of the old like previous records. I really enjoyed the different samples that they could dig up and use in their production. But here I feel like it's kind of missing something.
Yeah.
And I like that it's all original. Like I'm sure that was extremely difficult. You do the original production thing. Like that's quite a task to undertake. But I don't know. I feel like they got a little too comfortable.
Yeah. It's just a mixed bag. I don't know what to really make of it because it's like nothing's on here is truly terrible besides 50 Cent's verse, as we discovered. But like, it's like not new. Like it's passable. Like they
evidently.
Yeah, but it's just like it shows. Like I felt like if I haven't listened to Spring Blind Tell in the previous projects I mentioned,
if I've never heard of Griselda, I would not be impressed with this record.
Really, I think I would, in some extent.
I like it, but like I think that they've really toned down their sound for a mainstream audience. Like you said, this really does feel like a softcore reboot, and I don't think it has to. There are harder rappers out here that are doing pretty similar things that are, I think, not even I wouldn't even say like harder, but they make themselves out to be harder than they actually than these guys actually are.
Yeah,
and I wish that they would have stuck to their guns a little better.
Yeah.
Because I think they might have got big heads on this Shady Records
also, like,
debut.
For, like, features, like, there really isn't, like, I wasn't expecting, like, a ton of names, and even if this was, like, no features, that would be fine, but, like, there really isn't anyone spectacular besides Eminem's, like, the big name, but that was a single released months ago.
Yeah, and that was stuck on the end, like, obviously
50 Cent's a big name, but he's
of
also a 5-year-old, as Trevor thinks.
Horrible on here.
But, like, there really isn't anything. Raekwon's been there before, so I'm discounting him. He's not a new face, so.
He also didn't really rap. He just kind of talks.
Yeah, he's like, I've been reading up on Griselda, and it's literally just a page that goes boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I don't have to rate this. Keep in mind all scores for you telling me, so I'm feeling like a 6.
I think it's like a 6 or 7.
Yeah, I don't
6 plus
6 something.
Or 7 minus.
I don't want to give him a 6 because I really like Griselda. I really like everyone in Griselda, but like, I'm not gonna re-listen to this. I don't think. Besides Dr. Birds.
Yeah, I listen to like Dr. Birds and maybe Bang.
Yeah.
Chef Dreads.
Yeah.
The singles, basically.
Yeah. And that's it. I don't know. I really hope for more from Griselda in the future because like I feel like with their individual projects
I know that they're great. I wish they would show the rest of the world that they're great.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like this is kind of like one of those if you know you know situations. Like you know.
Thanks, Bob Dylan.
I really that's Pusha. That's what he sounds like. Like if you've listened to their older projects, you know like how good they can be. But then once they get on this like major label debut, then I think, in all honesty, like a lot of people can't take it.
Yeah.
I think that their projects that they've released so far would leave a bad taste in the mouth of people that have never heard of them before and are just listening like, oh, Eminem's got a new up-and-comer on here. His name's Griselda. Surprise, it's 3 people. And they've been in the game for a long time. Like, listen, if you haven't listened to their other projects and you came on here, then you might think like this is good. But for listening to their other projects that I feel like are miles better, and they have a lot more like, they just be themselves more. And then you come into this, it just feels like a little fake, almost a little phony.
Which I think one of the things I want to mention before we close off, but a lot of their projects are like no stakes, and that's kind of why they work. This is a lot of stakes.
It's very
and
high
they
stakes.
still bring the same amount of. I'm gonna say effort because I feel like they put effort into it, but it's like the same energy. Like it doesn't seem.
they're not really changing for anybody. I feel like they almost played it a little too safe with these high stakes.
Yeah.
Like they could be really reckless in their other records, like especially West Side, but then it just they played it way too safe on this Shady Records.
I'll leave it at that. And that's it for this week's episode of Anthony and Todd Show. I keep on flipping the pages in hopes there's another album there.
Not.
If you want to follow the Anthony and Todd Show on social media, you can find us at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Anthony and Todd. You can find us at youtube.com/The Anthony and Todd Show. You can find us at Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, and Spotify by searching the Anthony and Todd Show on your local podcast viewer. And you can also support us monetarily through Patreon, patreon.com/The Anthony and Todd Show, and Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/The Anthony and Todd Show. And that is
Find us on public access TV.
You told me it was only like $75.
It's like $75 for a year, and they tell you how to use the equipment. So
I didn't know how to use some equipment. We just use mine. We'll make a TV show.
Let's do it.
But until next time, guys, I'm Vincent.
I'm Trevor.
And see you, boys.
Bye, everybody. Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, I got to do a musical outro. Now, see you.
Later.
Bye.